Alright, hello everyone and welcome to Theorycrafting Thursday. This, of course, is everyone's favorite History of Boston podcast. Again, this week we have come back, but in a change of pace, we're not actually going to be talking about the history of Boston. We're going to be talking about making history in Boston because the announcement has been made that Valve will be putting on the fall major in for a game called Dota 2 in Boston, in the Wang or Wong Theater, depending on how you pronounce it. I don't know, because it's not, I don't know. I got nothing for that.
I always go for the Wang.
Me too. So from what we hear, Dota 2 is apparently the second most popular MOBA or ARTS game. It is a widely popularized game, ripoff of League of Legends as I hear it, and I'm excited for it to be within our lovely city.
Yes. I can't wait for all of the Dota, for all of the Dota fans to enjoy our local Boston delicacies, like sandwiches and
fish things.
Crawfish. I was going to say crawfish.
I don't think they have crawfish. They're not in the South.
Well, if you did, though, they'd be like crawfish at Boston. Yeah, and I think that would be fun.
I have been to Boston many times, actually, and
did you have crawfish?
I have had other various seafoods in Boston, though. So, you know, I mean, they're coastal, right? So they have all that stuff. Anyway, I'm excited for it. All jokes aside, it's going to be fun. I will almost certainly be there, it sounds. So look forward to it if you are going also. Also, tickets. Apparently, the theater only seats 3,500. So it's going to be hard to get tickets, I imagine. Granted, it's a major, so it's less of a to-do than like TI tickets or anything. But still...
Yeah. I mean, who wants to go to Boston?
Also, it's December 7th through 10th, so a lot of people aren't going to be able to take off work or are going to have... It's finals week for a lot of people. Probably me, but I don't know. I don't take finals.
Is that going to clash with Hanukkah this year?
Probably, maybe. I don't know.
Good question. That actually is kind of relevant.
But yeah, so it's an unfortunate date, but, you know, it is what it is.
Because we're playing Wraith King, which is similar to Moses.
Okay, all right. I'm going to just gloss right over that one. So let's talk about Dota instead of talking more about Boston, because hopefully it doesn't snow. That's the important thing. Anyway, as we get closer to the event, we'll be talking more about it. So this, of course, is Theorycraft Thursday, where we don't actually normally talk about Boston for minutes on end. We will be talking about Dota. And to start talking about Dota, I would like to ask you, Proud, how has your week in Dota been?
Okay. It's been good. I've won some games. I've lost some games. I'm getting a better sense of what I like to play in solo queue again. I've been playing some OD, and then OD got nerfed. Thank God, so I don't have to play OD anymore. I don't like that hero, man. My PA mid though, fucking that's some shit. I've like won every tree and protector game I've played in a while. Like people jerk me off when I play that hero, and that's not because I'm incredibly good. I mean, it is, but it's just because like. Anytime a Treant Protector wins a fight, it just looks like the coolest thing. Like someone's gonna die, and then they're like, "Oh, you didn't die. You thought you died. You didn't die." And then you fucking like use your W on a creep, and then the Leech Seed is just like healing your entire team for like fucking 500 goddamn health in this one spot. And then an Overgrowth, it's just Treant's so fucking fun, man. I love that hero.
I'm a big fan. I almost played him earlier today, but then swapping wasn't working for some reason, so I couldn't swap the guy on my team that random Treant.
If you've like bought any items or like if they've lost any gold, then like swapping doesn't work.
Because you used to be able to swap regardless of that. That's why I was confused. But I haven't swapped heroes in a long time, so.
I think you might be able to random and do it, but I know if you lose gold from the timer because they don't want you to be fucking like they want you to punish you for that fucking.
I don't
timer.
know. This guy just was like he was like, oh, I moused to Ursa, but I accidentally picked Treant, and I was like, okay, whatever. And I was like, please don't tilt. I already picked Rubik. I was like, people that are core players like Rubik, so I'll just be like, hey, if you want to trade, that's fine. And then we tried to trade, and he just had Treant, and he played like super greedy, which I was fine with. But that game sucked. Anyway, I'll get to my week in Dota soon. But how has 6.8 AD been treating you?
Okay, yeah. So you talked about the patch note. Oh, it's not even here anymore. Where is it?
The patch notes
on the main Dota page. I was expecting to just click on the fucking the front page. And read
they don't make money by people reading patch notes,
been...
buddy. They make money off of people buying the new battle pass and such.
Yeah, but apparently I still need to see fucking skill shot wars.
This Theorycrafting Thursday should just be the Custom Games Suck podcast, right? I think we can both agree on that.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So anyway, I played a Morphling game, and you know what happened? Not as much as I wanted to because there wasn't enough
Yeah, you were
mana
not
for
very
things to
smart.
happen.
Not as smart as you would have been a week ago.
No, I mean I won because I'm incredibly talented, but there were a lot of times when I wanted to cast a spell and I was like, yo, if I do this, I can't replicate out afterwards. And that was like I would be in the jungle farming and I'd be like, yo, I want to just waveform this creep. And I just couldn't. There was not that option. If I did that, I would have been like fucked for the next fight. It was and like you don't think it's that you think it's too much, but like if you think about the way Morphlings work, I mean, he spends a shit ton of mana and he gets Perseverance and Lincoln Sphere, right? So he has 150% mana regen, and you just like lop off some of his base intellect, and like he gets like that's extreme. That's like an extreme amount of fucking like actual mana pool that he's running away from. Like you have your Lincoln Sphere gives you some mana pool, but until you get your like E-Blade up, you actually just don't have enough intelligence to like you can regen all the mana you want because like his forte is just the mana regen. His actual mana pool is now just garbage. So like you really do have to section off the way you cast the spells now. I love Morphling to death still. I still think he's good, but I feel like instead of buying my Windlace, because I mean his move speed sucks by Windlace, but I think I might just go Magic Wand every time now because like that 4 int is the difference.
It is amazing how many little things you'd think would be insignificant that you really notice in Dota games. Especially, I think, when I was newer to the game, when I would like barely even read patch notes, let alone like analyze them, I would see something like, oh, okay, minus 0.4 of a stat per level. Like, who cares? That's like 20 less mana every 5 levels. But then, like when you actually math it out, you're like, wow, this hero that already had a tightly managed mana pool is now has even more difficulty with that. So it's definitely noticeable. Any other big standouts for you?
Probably, but I can't look at I mean, I can look at the patch notes, but I'm not currently. I mean, I'm glad OD's armor's gone away. Support PA is out.
Omni got buffed.
Everybody in the club. Yeah, Omni got buffed, which is great for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that they didn't take 2 damage off of Juggernaut.
Yeah. And 4 off of Drow.
Like, he's not overpowered. He's just good in general. Yeah, dude, I actually have no interest in playing Drow anymore. Like, that I think is too much. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, he definitely
his zoning was good.
Don't change someone's base damage. No, that's my turn. Don't change someone's base damage by 6. Like that's insane. There's like quality of life changes. Like when a hero comes out and they've got nice move speed or a nice animation, you're like, great, this is awesome. This is never gonna change. Like if this hero is shit, at the very least, last hitting with it feels good. But then they do that shit, and I'm like, I don't like be bad. Please be a bad hero as long as you feel good to play.
Yeah. That's now it. I mean, I already did the Wednesday show, so I've talked about patch notes ad nauseum. It's really...
Yeah, no, I mean, it's your turn to talk.
Yeah, it's basically just the Omni buff has not buffed Omni as far as my win rate is concerned. I have not won an Omni game in...
How many have you played?
4. Yeah, and there were two of them were solo, I think, and 2 of them were in our Hakuna Morana games. And like every game, I feel very effective and like I'm doing well, except for this most recent one. And then it just doesn't matter, and we just lose. So it's kind of like when OD was like really overpowered, and I was like, I just want to win some games. I'm just gonna play OD. And then I went like 2-5 or something, and I was like, I just need to play what I want to play. Yeah. I don't want to play overpowered things. Granted, like I actually like Omni, and I feel like I'm good at him, and yeah.
Well,
but apparently not. So I actually want to play offlane Omni instead of support Omni nowadays. But Anyway,
I love Omni, man. He's one of my favorite supports. Him and Treant are my supports that I go to now. And it's just I love that.
So any more notes on your week before we get into my week?
I've been winning a lot on Lone Druid.
That's good.
Just saying. Yeah, I still play that and play it anytime games look weird. I'm like, fuck it, Lone Druid. And Lone Druid is still good as safe lane or jungle. I've offlaned him once or twice too, but he's still okay in pubs. Don't worry about it. And I won a Jakiro game, so fuck you.
Yeah, I have not won games at all. I've won, let's see, not a lot of games. I'll put it that way. I was all excited like last week. I broke 4,900, and I was like, I want to climb to 5K this weekend because I thought I was going to have free time this weekend to climb and really focus. And then the weekend hit, and then people I never talked to were like, hey, we're doing stuff. You need to come out. I haven't seen you in months. And I had guilted into that instead of playing Dota like a real adult male. But
I was stalking you. I was stalking you this weekend. I was like, man, Sam's gonna play a lot. Maybe he's gonna get 5K. And then like I look at your account, like, all right, he played 2 games. He won one, then lost one, and then you didn't play a game again for like the rest of the weekend. It was so much for fucking playing Dota all day. Fucking say you spam a hero, you pick it 3 times, and say you're gonna do a big push. You play 2 fucking games.
Well, because I mean, if I do 2 games and win 2 games because I'm focusing, and like I random teammates that are at the very least not the most incompetent people I've ever met, that's like a big climb. But because I'm not the type that like sits and plays like 8 games in a row. But anyway, I've not won like anything. I think I'm down. I'm not down a ton of MMR, but like morale wise, it hurts my soul because.
Yeah, just think if you lost 700 in a week.
That's why I can't play like you and Flub play, is because like like mentally, emotionally, like I cannot handle that as a human being.
Yeah, no, I'm just a stronger person than you. It's fine.
It's actually like a miracle that I've like climbed this much MMR, considering how bad my like ladder anxiety used to be and how bad it still is. But like I legitimately was like, my heart was beating faster during a game like 2 days ago because I was like, I'm like 49-10 right now, and if I win this game, I'm going to be 49-35. And then I only have to play 3 more games and win all 3, and then I'm going to be 5K. And
dude, if you get close to 5K, you're actually just going to die. This happened
when I was like breaking 4K too, like a long time ago. I remember like I broke 4K and I was like 4,000, like 10 MMR or 15 or whatever it was, and I just didn't play ranked for like a long time. Granted, I don't play ranked often anyway, but like I'm just crazy like that. That's why I never played StarCraft ranked. Like I got to like gold, and I was like, I'm just going to watch StarCraft. I don't want to play it. It was too stressful. And so I just have terrible.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Not all of us can be fucking
I
masters.
definitely couldn't. Also, I sucked at that game compared to Dota, where I'm at least moderately good. But, so I've been losing a lot of games just in general in solo queue. Granted, I'm coming off of a huge win streak. So like, it's not like, I kind of feel it coming, right?
Yeah, no, you'll go back out to your real MMR, which is somewhere like 4.2 or 4.3 or something.
And it's fine. I just kind of need to recollect myself. I feel like I need to play like a week or 2 of like casual, fun Dota, playing some 5 stacks with friends some more instead of like focusing and really like trying hard. And team practice has been good like that for me. But I've just been tilting way harder than normal, so I need to like take a break. So
I feel you. Might I recommend antidepressants?
Yeah, my climb to 5K is suppressed for now. We'll resume in like a few weeks, so I'm feeling much better at the game.
Okay, all right. I'm glad I have some more time.
Yes, but my week in Dota has been dominated by playing Omni Night games and losing every single one. Playing.
I'm not interested in that anymore.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm really not interested in Omni either, unless I'm playing in the offlane. I have no intention of touching this hero in support again, unless like it's for Hakuna Mirana games that I need to. But
I just meant hearing about you losing games.
The games that I have been winning have been on Lina, which is one of the heroes we'll be playing today. Probably. They're gonna find out in like 10 minutes.
Ever.
I don't know if Lina's my best hero, but she's definitely up there. She's definitely my best mid, and that's mitigated by the fact that she sucks now. But we kind of surmount how awful she is with my personal comfortability and skill in the hero. Granted, it has taken some getting used to, but I've been playing a lot of Lina, both as a support, and I've tried her as a core a few times, to varying degrees of success. If you end the game within her window, she's solid, but she definitely... if you're going too late or you get shut down early, she's utter garbage. But so that's been really fun, getting to play my girl again. And played a few Rubik games, and Rubik's always fun. And Armlet Rubik, which you saw the other day, and you were like, man, this is legit. Everyone was impressed.
Yeah, if you want to hear me yell, go watch our last Hakuna Mirana team practice, and fucking... Specifically, like when I think it was the last game that we played it, because we actually played Captain's Mode when we played fucking good heroes. For once, fucking hate when we don't play Captain's Mode.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag though, because Captain's Mode like also has many of those games where it's like, regardless of draft, like the people that queue up for 5-stack Captain's Mode more often have like these 6K or 7K people on their teams, I feel. And those games are just utter misery.
I don't know.
It does happen everywhere, but I feel like it happens more in Captain's Mode.
I'm just saying, like with our current iteration of our roster, we win almost every
I think that's
Captain's
definitely
Mode
correct
game.
with this current iteration.
I'm just so good at drafting.
And also Yeah, Hakuna Matata has been interesting recently because we're adapting now to both Fafnir being our consistent support player and Flub being now the mid player. And Flub's mid pool is about as different a mid pool can get from our previous mid player. So it has taken some adjusting, and it has both closed some doors and opened others. So I'm glad it's gone well, other than a few practices that have been utter misery. But, we make it work in captain's mode at least. So that's about my discussion of my week.
Can we do this segment?
Let's do the segment.
It's taking
yeah,
so
that's
long.
fine.
I hate you.
So last week we talked about farming as a support and as a one position carry. So this week we're going to go over, in a very general sense, farming as an offlaner and farming as a mid laner. And there's always the caveat where farming is going to be very different depending on the hero you put in a various role, right? So if you say farming
obviously.
as a mid laner, we're going to be focusing more on the actual laning phase rather than, farming as a mid laner in general, right? Because if you're farming as a mid laner that's an alchemist, that is a fundamentally different experience than farming as a mid laner that is like a Mirana or a Puck. Yeah, exactly.
Puck or whatever.
So that is the caveat that we will say. This is not the end-all, be-all of farming discussions. But focusing on the laning phase, what do you want to start with, Proud? Offlane or mid?
Let's do mid.
So mid is historically my favorite position because it was like a 1v1 match of skill where it's like, oh, I got more last hits than you. Oh, I'm denying. Nowadays, it is not that, and that's why I'm glad I'm not a mid player, except for when we lose mid, and then I'm like, boy, I wish I was playing that role so I would not lose. But the mid lane nowadays, the mid lane is nowadays like 2 to 3 heroes all the time, harassing one another and just hassling everybody and being confusing and aggressive, and it's a whole mess. But fundamentally, farming is that 1v1 experience, and mid more so than any other lane. Actually, maybe the off lane, but more so than any other lane. The mid lane is about creep equilibrium in a very specific sense, and not so much maximizing it for your advantage, but also maximizing it to disadvantage the other person. Like you were talking about on Proudland last week, about how the value of range creeps in mid lane is all about, getting their range creep and denying yours. And a lot of little tiny mechanical things, whereas if you're in the safe lane, whether you're a support or the carry, you can mitigate the XP the other person is getting using a variety of tactics compared to just the pure mechanical skill that a mid laner requires. In general, obviously, with the prevalence of roamers, there are other things that go on and other ways to stop people from getting XP, but in general, it's very 1v1 mechanical experience farming as a mid laner. And then you also have mid laners that, less so nowadays, more so a few patches ago, that are focused on stacking their side camps or having stacks created for them by their supports, right? So we have nowadays it's pretty much just Alk, right? What other mid laners are big on stacks? Alchemist, TA. Those are the two that really come to mind. But formerly, that was the patch when SF and Lina and Stormspirit were really big. And Tiny. Tiny's another good example. He's still pretty good at taking stacks nowadays.
Love Tiny. He's an okay little stacker boy.
Yep.
I'll say that. Bat Rider, or Batreader, as he's known.
In mid-axe, which I've seen more times than I would like. I will say that.
It's good, man. Good. It's like, a melee hero.
Yeah.
There's Max. I feel like it's just better than mid Sand King in most situations. In most situations, you want a mid Sand King, you can put a mid Axe there, and you're like, well, it's better.
I think I'll agree with that. Okay.
Because you also want a Sand King off lane and a Sand King support, so you want the Sand King, the Axe mid. That way, you can run another Sand King somewhere else.
But those kind of mids are decidedly different, right? Those kind of mids. The reason why you're going back to stacking is either in the case of Alchemist, it's to catapult you in that 15-minute mark into big items to tempo control real well, or it is because you are a mid that loses lane inherently, which again could be Alchemist in certain matchups. Like he's very disadvantaged in Death Prophet, where he can't just farm the actual creep wave. He has to do other stuff. Oh yeah, Quap 2, or Disruptor. That is the Huskar Disruptor, the ultimate mid matchup, but.
Yeah,
But
disruptor.
yeah, so that's kind of the key to any mid farming, in my opinion, is deciding. Well, I'd say 3 steps, right? Or maybe 2 steps. I don't know how to count. The first step would be deciding, all right, in this matchup, am I able to just farm the lane and actually contest? Like, oh, am I going to do more damage than them or less damage than them? Are they ranged on melee or vice versa, right? Decide if you can farm. Then B, it said, all right, if I can farm, then how am I going to do it? Am I going to have to do it through stack in the jungle, or am I going to do it through strictly laning? And then 3 would be maximizing your time off of lane, right? So frequently you're going to be going to get runes and stuff. So you have to optimize and say, all right, I'm playing TA. I could just go get rune, or I could use refraction, kill the wave a little faster, then go up, stack my set of ancients, and get rune all in one foul swoop, right? So it's all about maximizing those little things. Same thing with Alchemist. He does a similar thing.
It's true. Yeah, one of the in addition to this, I think I was talking about this on the Proudland show, but it is pretty easy to at least stack something on your way to get rune if you don't need to be there. You know, like if the rune is being taken from you by an offlaner or an enemy support or something, then you can't really afford to do this too much. But if you do have, you know, a couple seconds grace time, either stacking the ancients for going to the rune near your off lane for either side, because, you know, Radiant would go to top, Dire would go to bottom for their ancients. Or also there's that medium camp that's close to the mid lane, tier 1 on Radiant, that you can get that at like, you know, 55 or whatever, and then get the rune at like, you know, minute 02. And then there's a medium camp that's like, you go up on Dire, you go like north and then around, and then there's that a camp that you can, like the camp that's closest to the rune, you just like pull it up and then walk around at like, you know, 54, 55 or something, then you get easy rune. So if you're going to farm stacks and you have any chance at all at getting the rune a couple seconds afterwards, just like get that stack going. 'Cause, man, like that
yeah, it's all the difference between it makes a difference between either a lane that you've tied, like let's say, you know, it's whatever matchup. Let's say it's like TA versus Invoker mid, and like both of you have ballpark the same CS, but if you are now coming out of laning phase and Invoker has no stacks and TA has a stack of ancients and her supports have stacked 2 medium camps, then not only can the TA take that, but and start winning the lane, but even if she lost lane super hard, like let's say she had 25 CS at 10 minutes and Invoker had 60, if she can go take those stacks, she can break even at least. So that is a big deal to mitigating either a lost mid or making your tied mid super 1, or even making a 1 mid even more 1. So that is a big thing that one has to think about. And even if you're not a mid that takes stacks, like let's say you're a puck, which is pretty bad at taking stacks in general since they nerf magic damage, you can still, just through the nature of going to get rune every couple minutes, there are just camps you can stack, right? And so in the vast majority of games, it's just valuable to make stacks in general. Unless like the enemy team has heroes that take stacks well and your team sucks at it, which is rare.
Yeah, there have been games where I have had like, I don't know, a puck mid or something similar to that, and then I'm like a Slark, and then there's even a 2 stack of ancients, and I'm like, I can't take this. Like, I'm gonna die. It's a Bloodseeker.
I get that very often. I feel like that's a very common misconception with supports is
ancients specifically, because like most camps, like, you know, AoE spells, everyone's got at least, you know, you got at least 1 or 2 on a team, and anyone can deal with that. But like ancients, like, careful with that shit. No one is equipped for that besides
I feel
Sven.
like it definitely happens more in a certain bracket too, because it's a mechanic that is like a higher level mechanic is making stacks in the jungle, and that's like a very important thing to learn. Like I'd say probably around like high 2Ks to low 3Ks if you're a support player. That's something you should be like working into your play, but it's also very easy to be autopiloting that, and then like you'll have that one bad game that'll teach you to not just autopilot and build stacks, because like using your example, your team has a carry Slark and a mid puck and an off lane like something that can't take stacks like a Slardar, and then the enemy team has like a mid Alchemist and an off lane Timbersaw and like a safe lane Sven. Yeah, and it's like, all right, well, you've made all these stacks, thank you.
And a jungle
and like
Lina.
if the enemy team is pressuring you guys super hard and like invading you guys, and like you don't want to make stacks that are going to get invaded easily, stuff like that. And alternatively, if the enemy team is making stacks and you're playing Ricky, just go soak XP at least, or like go and follow and kill people. So
The worst man, when you make that like the safe lane hard camp, you make like a 3 stack of that, and then they have a fucking like Tide or a Bat Rider, and then like you're doing a lit fucking like a wave under tower, and your support went to gank commit, and you look over, you say, oh, there's some Firefly right near our stack.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Goodbye stack.
And it's gone.
That's another big thing about stacks just in general, and this applies less to mid farming, or actually it applies to all kinds of farming, is just having stacks is a resource for everybody. So like we were playing a game and we had a TA mid and a Tide Hunter off lane. And I don't even remember. Maybe we had a safe laner that was also good at taking stacks. Because I don't remember. But if you make those stacks, it's not necessarily just farm for one person. It's farm that can be given out to whoever needs it. And XP, same. Like if your Rubik is behind and really needs level 6, instead of him just being shafted and you saying like, all right, we'll take lane, you can just say, all right, Tide's about to take an ancient stack, so you just hang out over there and get your XP. So stacks are a big deal, and mid is one of the best positions to be making stacks, other than support, of course. Okay, so that's kind of my abridged version of farming as a mid. It's, again, just to whittle it down, it's determine your matchup. Can you win your matchup? If yes, win your matchup. If no, go and find farm somewhere else, right? Either through saying, hey, Kunkka, please gank my lane, or hey, make stacks for me because I'm losing lane, and I'm going to need to take stacks. And then after that, it's all about transitioning your farm into things and knowing what kind of mid you are, which is it is a mid farming aspect, but it's more of a mid player aspect overall, right? It's about saying, I'm playing puck. I shouldn't be sitting here farming at 20 minutes. I should be getting stuff done and getting kills and making space, versus I'm playing alchemist. I should probably just be farming, right? So determine what kind of mid you're playing, and it varies greatly, of course, and that's kind of the key to it. And farming changes for each one, right? Priority wise, if you're missing a wave as a puck and getting aggression out of the lane and maybe getting kills, that's valuable. But if you're missing a wave on an alchemist, you're not putting pressure anywhere. You're not going to gank. You're not doing anything good. So just focus on the things you're good at, right? Know every mid and learn matchups too. Know like what matchups you absolutely need the null in, and what matchups you can just like kind of, you're gonna out damage them so much.
I don't even know if there's a matchup where you don't need the null. I feel very strongly.
I do too. That was it used to be different. Like it used to be more varied, but
it really didn't.
That's true too. Bad. But I find, I suppose like, think about less about item specifics, because you're making a very good point that you're almost always going to have some kind of stat item. But in the laning matchup, just knowing the base damages of various mid heroes and the animations is very significant. And like that's going to drastically change your mid matchup.
No, I totally agree. I've been playing more mid recently. I think I'm going to play mid for my CSL team. I've said a couple times, I think. So I've been trying to get better at that. Fucking OD has so much goddamn damage, but his auto attack just feels weird, so I never feel like I'm taking advantage of it. Like I can be 8 damage up on someone and just be trading even, and I'm like, yo, if this was any other hero, I would be fucking destroying this. Like I can be 10 damage down on Windrunner and get more than them, but on OD I'll be like 8 up, and I'm like, this is hard.
It definitely changes things drastically. That's why certain mids are better than others in certain things. Like I was playing the Invoker versus TA matchup earlier. And even at points where I was out damaging her when she didn't have refraction up and I was playing Exort, her animation was just so fast that like you really have to play around it better. Or like Lina is probably the best example of a mid that has a terrible matchup or a terrible animation. Therefore, she uses spells, right? And knowing, am I going to farm with spells or am I going to farm with auto attacks? This is another thing that you have to learn on a hero-to-hero basis, right? Compared to other roles, like we're going to get into offlane momentarily, where there are more general understandings of how to accumulate farm within a position. The mid is a much more hero-specific, I'd say. Offlane too, I guess, a bit. But nowadays, like, who cares? Just buy an Iron Talon.
Yeah, everyone Iron Talon's the same way,
everybody can activate Iron Talon just the same.
Actually, no, Lifestealer, open wounds a creep, and then Iron Talon, and you'll heal off the damage of the Iron Talon.
That's fancy.
Well, I did.
Okay, so on that note, let's move to offlane. And first off,
Wait, no, that's enough for the segment. We're like 30
Okay.
minutes
All right.
in.
Well, we'll talk about offlane next week.
I mean,
No.
we could
We'll talk
do
about
that.
next week. That's a good idea. So we're gonna talk about our heroes this week, and then we'll talk about offlane next week, farming. So for
Yeah,
our heroes this
fine.
week that we already kind of mentioned, we are gonna be playing Wraith King and Lina, and I'm excited for this. I know you're excited for this. We both love our respective heroes in this thing.
Yeah.
Us helps me a support Lina, by the way, and a support Wraith King, and we'll be the duo.
Well, a jungling Wraith King that's going to be
Well,
kind.
it's fine. If you want to jungle, honestly, just do it, and I'll just play like. Yeah.
Oh, no,
okay.
that's what I'm
Well,
doing.
then don't be facetious. Don't be like, oh, I'll buy some stuff. Just jungle.
No, that's what I'm getting. Like when I jungle, I buy
Yeah.
shit.
Okay. Well, I mean, either way, I'm fine with it. I play 6 most games outside of team practice, so.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, don't fucking even try that shit
Hey,
around me.
all right, yeah, team practice. I don't play the 6 ever because we don't play junglers. But yeah. Anyway, we've played both these heroes before on the show. We actually haven't played Lina on the show before because I don't know why. I've just been saving the hero, but
You haven't played Invoker
no,
either. But that's just because
no,
you're bad
I'm
at
great
it.
at it. Just as good, if not better, than our previous mid player Vafa. Stand by that.
I mean, he's not on the team, so I don't have any
Yeah, that's
interest in
fair.
defending him.
But Lina, I would play in a mid position if it's open for this game. So I'll leave that caveat. If nobody clicks to mid, I may end up playing mid Lina.
Yeah, there's a lot of caviar.
I'm a big fan of
this
caviar.
podcast.
Caveats too. Do you want to talk about Wraith King support / jungle first? It's just jungle. We're gonna call it jungler. You told me when we were talking about this before the recording. Proud's like, I'm gonna play support Wraith King in the 4 position, and I'll buy an Iron Talon. And I was like, oh, that sounds good. And then we get to the recording, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna jungle. I know, maybe I'll buy a pack of Sentry Wars later.
What else am I gonna do with the Iron Talon? You explain
You
that
have
one to
armor,
me.
so you can harass people, and you'll take less damage back.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so talk about this.
No, I'm gonna jungle it first, and then once it's all set, once I'm set, once everything's all set and done, I'll upgrade courier, and then you're on your own.
So you're gonna upgrade the courier. Honestly, if you upgrade the courier, that's a huge deal because that means I get boots at 3 minutes instead of
I know.
boots at like 5.5.
They don't got to tell me. I know how important upgrading the courier is. Yeah, so I'm gonna play. It actually is going to be like a support Wraith King. Like my main thing is I'm just gonna try to get like treads and treads blink
Blade.
and no, I mean Iron Talon, treads and blink are gonna be like the main things. But yeah, I mean I'll be buying support items and shit with my unreliable gold while I'm trying to get my blink up. But like the main thing is you just want like treads, sometimes an orb of venom, but normally like a windlace, and then just like clarities and shit. And I'm just gonna go around, like dropping stuns and hitting kids until I get my blink up, and then I'll just keep jamming on nerds.
Sounds about right. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and I'll get armlet, and that'll be that support armlet that you're so in favor of. Like, do you think maybe support armlet is good
Definitely
this
on
game?
both our heroes.
On Wraith King?
I've played
Yeah.
a not insignificant games of Armlet Lina, both for fun and because I think support Armlet's legit.
Yeah, I've actually played a lot of armlet on Wraith King, which I know is shocking to you. So I'm definitely
All
gonna
right,
do
well,
that.
that sounds good to me. And of course, like Wraith King nowadays is a really good jungler just because of the change to his passive, the crit one compared to before. Because I remember seeing people try to Wraith King jungle before because they're like, oh well, he has a lifesteal aura, and he's much better now. Also, Iron Talon, good item. All right, so Lina, okay.
Dude, and in Mortal Strike, dealing double damage to non-hero units is like really cool,
that's
honestly.
what I was saying. But yes,
Oh yeah, sorry.
okay,
Skrunk
that's
might play
cool.
with us.
Skrunk, our teammate, might play with us, which is fun. Okay, so on Lina, I guess I'll very briefly go through mid Lina just because it's more relevant to most people. Support Lina is not as good, and that's saying something. Mid Lina, the build is you always max your Dragon Slave, then you go 1 point in stun, 1 point Fiery Soul. You do that with both builds skill wise, and then of course you're getting ult at 6. But item wise on mid Lina, it's very linear. I shouldn't say it actually. It's not linear at all. But the first few items are very simple.
Yeah,
So you're going to go
0%.
bottle, boots, then you build mana boots. Also, you start like null fairy fire like you do on every hero. You buy stat item fairy fire, 2 pooled tangos, and a branch. And then you're going to go straight for Yules after mana boots. Then you disassemble mana boots. You buy an Aether Lens. Then you go for your BOTs usually. And then you transition into Aghanims and then whatever else you need. There are also a lot of people.
You go to your boots.
It
of
depends on the
travel that
game.
early?
Sometimes I'll finish Ags before BOTs, but if the game's super active, I will go BOTs before Ags, or I'll just buy point booster.
I feel like in this iteration of Dota, like I don't know, I feel like you would need more punch on Lina than to have the luxury.
It
Of
really
just rushing
depends on
the
your
travels.
timings, because if you are really
Yeah.
dominating and the enemy team isn't inherently tanky, or they're not going to become tanky in the next few minutes, you can really like dominate all 3 lanes and the entire like game state with BOTs and just being everywhere at once.
Yeah, I can see travels as like a super
Yeah.
snowbally item. I don't know because it used to be like you. So this is like a minor rant on travels in general, but you rush like Midas and travels, and then like not only are travels really good, you don't have to buy them late game, but also you don't have to ever spend any money on TPs. But since TPs have gotten their gold reduced so much, like the value of that is so much less, which is why travels keep getting buffed so much. Is because fucking TPs are 50 gold, so you gotta have like something real good to make travels worth it, aside from just like late game. That's just I don't know. That's because there have been some times where I'm like, man, I'm gonna get travels early, and then that'll catapult my farm.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. So there's a little thought on travels. Maybe if you haven't, changed your mind about travels to reflect the fact that they're not actually saving you much gold if you get them early.
Yeah,
Update your heuristics, man.
I usually go Aghanims before travels, but there are definitely times with this when the state of the game works in that fashion to like
Yeah, I believe it.
regardless, so those are like the core 4 to 5 items, however many I listed. And then like situationally late game, sometimes you'll go for MKB, which is like the right click Lina build. Also Desolator Lina is pretty sick, but in general, if you're staying,
Yeah. Dude, that's a Wraith
Yeah,
King
for
is
sure.
sick too, man. You get Echo Saber Dessa. I mean, you basically build him
Yeah.
like he's Lifestealer, and only he also needs a BKB. Like that's Wraith
yeah,
King, and he gets Blink.
kind of like the old Lifestealer builds. And then in the very late game, you're gonna Octarine Core is pretty fine on Lina. It would be really good, but Fiery Soul caps at 3 stacks, which sucks. Honestly,
Yeah,
that
that
would be a really
sucks.
big buff to Lina if it went to like 5 stacks, let's say, because it would only apply in the super
That'd be
late
cool.
game, but it would not super late, but it would apply in like the late game, and it would make her a much better hero, and it would actually make these like attack speed builds a little more viable. The other
Yeah.
kind of options on Lina are Bloodstone, which is a very popular item. I really like the build, but I don't do it every game because I kind of find it a little harder to work in. But it's a very good build, and that's something you'll see very commonly. Also, Shadowblade Lina is super, super popular at very high MMRs because Shadowblade is just
Yeah, man.
great.
Dude, Shadowblade and Silver Edge, I feel like are like the most underrated
Yeah,
items
Shadowblade,
right now.
especially, they buy it late. It's not about getting like a Shadowblade early. It's about buying it like as your like 4th or 5th item, and then you're at the point where nobody
Yeah.
but supports is going to carry dust. And on Alina, if you already have Ags or at least you have like your ult up, you can just burst somebody super fast with Shadowblade. So it is good. I honestly don't play it. I'll be perfectly honest. And also Blink, like Blink Yules is very simple. But if you use Yules Aether, then I feel like you don't need Blink because your range is just absurd in the first place. But yeah, so
fair.
that's mid Lina for you. And support Lina, similarly, you're still going to be going Mana Boots, Yules, and Aether Lens, and then Ags, right? Like, the hero just synergizes so perfectly with Yules, and her Aghanims is so good that if you can get these items, she is a perfect support to be transitioning into a real threat. I know that's something we were talking about because we were drafting this in Hakuna Marana games as D push. Despite the fact that like the hero is widely considered to be very weak, and I haven't been playing it much recently because of that. But her D push is really good compared to other supports that D push, and she's great at farming side lanes, which is something that I do a lot, as is well documented by our team practices. But yeah,
Sam farms a lot.
and I'm grouped with a bunch of enablers, despite how like salty they may be. They're always like, they let it happen. I don't get yelled at until it's after team practice. But
well, because see, not all of us like to yell at our teammates during the game.
I don't yell at our teammates during the game.
You do
maybe,
put them on tilt,
but only flub.
It's mostly yourself that you put on tilt, I've noticed.
Yeah, especially recently. I've just been tilty recently. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're a pretty
I'm definitely a pretty
person.
tilty person. But anyway, Lina's very fun. I like her a lot. And that's the big thing that we were discussing during team practice, and one of the big values we found with the hero is that she can transition very successfully from a support into a semi-core, and like just Laguna Blade itself is such a good ability in bursting down like 2-core lineups that are very common in like actual team games compared to pubs where it's like 4 cores and a support. But
4 cores and 1 support to go.
It's fun. Honestly, like the hero is bad. I will be perfectly honest. I don't think the hero is good in a standard situation, but when you factor in like my specialty with the hero and the fact that situationally it's legit, it's fine. It's pickable, honestly. Dota's supposed to be a fun game, right? So I have to keep it fun and play the heroes I like. I don't think so. Honestly, Dota's not a fun game. So
they shouldn't put techies in.
It's a fun game when you're winning, I'll say that. But
it is very fun to win Dota too.
Nice thing about synergy-wise with these two heroes is Lina is pretty fine in the early game at being the 6 and just buying everything, and she can zone pretty easily because of her huge attack range despite not doing a lot of damage. So you can kind of make it work depending on the matchup. She's not going to like completely zone certain offlaners. Like she's not going to zone a Tidehunter super well, for instance, because of Kraken Shell. He's just going to take no damage. But she's pretty fine as long as she's getting XP. She's great at pulling because of that attack range. And, altogether, she's intensely mediocre and then like kind of bad in other things. But the synergy here is basically just Wraith King is a setup stun for LSA. LSA, if you're a good Lina player, you can hit it very often without a setup stun. But classically, Lina's support is paired with other supports that have setups. Like one of the most classic Lina combos is Shadow Demon Lina, for the obvious reason of just disruption, LSA, and the damage amp, and then Laguna Blade and Dragon Slave. Yeah, exactly. Even without Laguna Blade, like in the early game, it's just so good with like Dragon Slave at level 2 or 3 and LSA. Occasionally, there are games if you do have setup like that, or like Wraith Blast, for instance, that I will skip a point in Fiery Soul and get 2 points LSA because they changed the scaling of LSA a few patches ago. I rarely do that. I will say that it's only if like I'm killing squishy people. Like if it's a mid Zeus, let's say, and I'm playing with like a Kunkka, and the Kunkka's already setting up my LSA, and I know I'm going to hit it. It's nice to have that extra little bit to just burst him down instead of me having to right click him from far away to try to kill him. So that is a possibility sometimes, but in general, you want 1 point Fiery Soul because just getting off all those auto attacks is going to make a big difference. So that's it for me. Anything else on this combo before we hop into the game?
We wanted to just say that maybe I don't want to jinx us here, but there may arise a situation where Wraith King is not the pick, which it really wasn't. I think last time we played Wraith King, it was
against like an AM and a Crosswex Invoker or something, and like an OD.
And a Lion, and it was just, I was just like, actually, this couldn't be worse. Yeah, it was. Had to like blink in after EMP. It was awful. So there may be a situation where I can't play support, aka jungle Wraith King. So I may play support, aka jungle Bloodseeker. Or Legion. I feel like Legion would probably go better. The
Legion Lina is awesome. I actually really like that.
Okay. All right. I really want to play Bloodseeker, but I will play Legion instead, just for you. So if that happens, I'll talk about it afterwards. But I mean, I'm sure you can imagine like Duel is a pretty good fucking setup for the stun and nukes and a lot of damage when the Duel real fast. Also, you can heal Lina to get her out of trouble. You're like a nice tanky hero up in the front, just like Wraith King. And you do need minimal items. So if you do need to, help out Lina something, or if you need a little bit of zoning for Lina, like they're not going to all clump up and kill Lina if you have overwhelming odds in a duel and a heal to get her out of shit. So it's kind of thing where like your supporty jungly core can actually save or like make up for the fact that you're like, if you only have one support, normally it's kind of nice to have like a dazzler or something like that. But that's one of the nice things about Legion is Legion can be serve the purpose of a defensive support if you do have like a 5 Lina or something like that.
Lina having that LSA on top of what's his name on top of LC duel
Wraith King?
is kind of a mixed bag. Once
because you said his name,
I was
which
thinking
didn't
about
make
old
any fucking
LC.
sense. So I think about
me
old
too.
LC a lot.
I mean, new LC looks awesome. I'm a big fan of the model, but old LC was just so cool. Anyway, Lina Bloodseeker. Well, do you know what old LC was? Dude on a horse with a sick mustache. Yeah,
and he was just like, never trust an elf.
The Bloodseeker Lina is actually really good too, because you can amp me when I'm going to cast Laguna Blade, which is awesome, and I'm a natural Yules builder, so I Yules them. You put blood right down. I LSA.
That's
and
cool.
Burst, and
That's
anybody
cool.
dies to that. So
yes, I'll blood rage you and then blood rage myself, and then you ulti and all day gone.
It's actually really good.
Because I mean, Dagon is actually the Bloodseeker build now. I want everyone to know that. Like Dagon is actually
it's not a meme
good.
build. It is a meme build, but it's like legitimately quite good.
It's a meme build that will kill someone
for good reason. Okay, so that's a good caveat, and I think we are going to start doing that moving forward with the show. Is that we're going to give like some alternates for if certain heroes within the lineup are very situational. We are going to give some kind of alternative, partially so that we win more games, but also because it adds more value to if you're trying to do these combos yourself.
What if you or your friend just doesn't want to play one of the fucking heroes? And they're like, yo, I don't want to play Lina. I want to play
Skywrath
instead. Yes, I don't know. Yeah, Sky's fine.
Yeah.
Sky's fine.
Okay, so we're gonna hop into our game then. You can of course.
You
can of course watch that VOD on youtube.com/.ptv1. That is a numerical one, and we will have both point of views up, and it should be fun. So I'm looking forward to it. Hello everyone, we are back. We have just finished our game. It was very fun. As we said earlier, our good buddy Skrunk joined us. And despite a couple losses in the previous weeks, I think, we had a stellar game today. Not only was it a one game, but it was a very fun game, I think. Granted, we were playing heroes we love, but...
Yeah, that was one of the more fun games of Dota I've played in a while. There was a lot of screaming involved, or at least some. Mostly on my end. But.
A not zero amount.
Yeah.
And our stack mates, our random pub 2-stack that we ran into was actually very nice. They aggro duoed. So I'll go with the teams while I pull up the game.
So every single episode we get ahead of ourselves and then we're like, well, first I'll go over the teams.
Yep. Well, somebody needs to direct this train. So
we had the guy who screws up all the time.
Yeah, we had an offlane aggro duo that was Jakiro Underlord, so you could tell we won the game because we had an Underlord on our team.
True.
Surprisingly, no Omni Knight on either team, otherwise that team would have won. We had a mid Lina. I actually got to be mid this game because they wanted to do their aggro duo thing because they were 2-stack. And we had a jungle support roaming Wraith King, which was very effective, and a safe lane Faceless Void, which was a nice accent to the team because he could 1v1 their offlaner, as well as our team just works well with Chronosphere between Jakiro and Lina, and even Underlord's pretty darn good.
Dude, Underlord's Q and Chrono is insane.
Yeah, it's really, really strong. And the enemy team...
We honestly had one of the best Chrono teams I could think of.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if I was Bloodseeker instead, but even then,
Yeah. Even Wraith King was fine, though, because, if somebody's outside of the Chrono, you'd, blink on them and jam. Yeah. So, it was totally fine. Yeah. And so the enemy team, they had a mid-Pudge, they had a roaming Earthshaker, and a offlane Windranger, a safe lane Phantom Assassin, and a Kunkka. And I think, their Kunkka and Earthshaker supports were pretty much always top, except for when they left to roam to mid or TP a lot. The Earthshaker in particular was really good with TP responses, so it was interesting. We definitely. So how would you say the flow of the game went? I know for me personally, even though midding against Pudge is theoretically easy, I got hooked once, and that ruined like my entire laning phase for like the first 4 minutes because I didn't die, but I was low enough that if I did get hooked, I would die. But I was close enough to my bottle that I was like, well, I don't want to go back to base.
Or if you're at a salve or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't want to put yourself 100 gold away from the bottle.
Yeah.
Should have had me buy you a salve. I wouldn't have done that. But
well, in a typical game, what would have happened was I would have been pooled 2 tangos, and I would have had a fairy fire, and I would have had a branch, and I would have ferried out a salve for myself.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
I bought my own tangos because I wanted to be nice to this aggro duo because we had a jungler. So I was like, oh, just buy the courier. I'll buy my own tangos. Don't worry about it. And also, if you're aggro doing, you want to have extra regen. And so I got put into a hard place, and then my bottle was delayed by like probably a minute and a half, and it was not fun. But then once I had it, things were much better. But then they were roaming on me, and then we had a failed gank.
That gank failed hardcore.
I think Pudge, I'd have to rewatch it, but I'm pretty sure Pudge hit 6 in the creep wave while we were ganking him.
Probably.
And he dismembered me, because I'm sure it's going to look ridiculous in the VOD.
Yeah.
But
I got a little ahead of myself. Not going to lie. That was not the play.
Well, I was telling Pratt, I was like, all right, all you got to do, if you rotate, we can just kill him. And he had probably like 5/6 of his health. Like, he only had a little bit taken off. And we're like, all right, I'm just going to get hooked. And then you were fogged.
No. I said, yo, get hooked and we'll kill him. And you were like, sounds awesome. And then you get hooked and I have to fucking walk. Like, I have a windlace at this point too. But just he hooked you far enough because he's level fucking 6. And then he hooks you and I'm like waddling like, oh God. And then like you're about to do something and then just dismember. And we're like, oh fuck. That's just, then I tried to save you and it didn't work and we both got killed.
And the Earthshaker TP'd also, which further impeded it. Yeah, so that was a disaster. And that was like,
not good.
So by the end of the game, it was a 25-minute game, by the way, and the score was 40 to 10. And we didn't even lose a tier 1. So we really just like snowballed once we were successful.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of wish for our Underlord episode, now I kind of wish we did Jakiro Underlord because their aggro duo was so effective.
Yeah, what was ours?
We did Underlord Tusk, but it was also like Underlord had came out that day, so we were kind of just like, oh, let's just do whatever's fun.
Yeah.
But anyway,
the duo I did with Underlord I did Underlord Ogre with Roland, and that was really good.
Yeah, Underlord Ogre makes a lot of sense. It's very just like run at you, kind of like Ogre Jakiro. I mean, Jakiro Underlord. Very just like constant pressure. And that's what Underlord
Jakiro Underlord has like the bonus of you kill their tower.
Yeah. But yeah, so my mid lane was rough, but I wasn't like chain feeding or anything. It was just like I made one bad mistake and he made a good hook. It was actually a really good hook in my defense. If you watch the VOD, you'll see. But after that, like it went fine and I snowballed super hard because Lina's really good at like, honestly, the way that our game flowed is like the perfect kind of Lina game. Not just because like we dominated them, but like the constant action kind of game state is what she wants and what she excels in.
Spells are so spammy. Like in the small skirmishes, like we can get kills with just like my stun, your 2 non-ultimate nukes, and then like, one Jakiro spell. So like we can just keep doing that, and then once the real fight happens, you still have your ulti up or whatever. Like that's really good. And then also it was like me and Underlord and Jakiro were starting all these fights, so we would take the brunt of this damage, and then afterwards you would come in from mid lane or whatever, because we'd mostly fight on the top lane. So the general game flow for me was I was jungling until about level 5. I upgraded courier. I bought an extra ward. I was generally like relatively useful. Then Sam was like, yo, gank. And then I was like, yo, let's gank. And then I was like, yo, Sam, get hooked. And then that went badly. So instead of being level 6 at 540, like I should have been, I was level 5 at like 630, which was unfortunate. But my jungling would have been really fast if I didn't just feed myself to Pudge. But so I just like, after that didn't work, I just like went top as soon as I was close to 6. And because they were already winning. So I just came up there and like, then we just like dove them behind tower and shit and just totally dominated it. And then we just like skirmished top lane the entire, like maybe for the entire rest of the next 10 minutes. And then we just kept making fights happen. And then Pudge would come and then Ursi would come behind him. And then we would just like, do a good smattering of AoE damage. They'd think they were about to kill us. And then Ursi would just like come up, do a fucking new combo and get like a double kill. And that was just like every fight we would just like do a night. We had a nice body of damage through our Underlord Jakiro and Wraith King. And then Ursi could just direct his nukes wherever he wanted to collect the kills.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that a lot of games, the game state becomes this very skirmishy, like constant aggression type of game state, which is very like finicky inherently, right? Like our game could have easily gone poorly if the enemy team started if we overextended just a little bit too much and like we all died with a bunch of unreliable gold and we all had kill streaks running. But we just played it right, and like our kind of gamble worked off, and our team was very centered and focused around that mechanic. Whereas a lot of games become skirmishy when you have a team like their team that is much more like cooldown and item reliant, and they just kind of got dragged into our game style, and we decided the tempo.
Not only is your hero good at it, and like obviously Underlord, all his active abilities that are fighty are all non-ultimate and really good, and Jakira doesn't level ultimate, at first, whatever. But like especially Wraith King and especially Wraith King support, the fact that like when things got bad, I just stopped moving and I made sure that I was the one who was overextended and punished, and then we had enough time to like regather ourselves and then defend on my res. Whereas if I was like a carry, they would just like kill me, res, kill me again, and then that would have been the fight. But instead I'm the support, so they like kill me, and then I res, and then I'm stunning them out, and then they have to decide to kill someone that's like behind me, but they're all still slowed and shit. And like, man, like Wraith King support went really well for or Wraith King jungle support went really well for that general game state.
Yeah, I really like the Wraith King jungle as far as like junglers go, just because we say this all the time, but if you are going to jungle, you have to be active. Like if you're playing Legion jungle, you have to smoke and get a kill at 6. Same thing with Beastmaster jungle. Wraith King jungle is he works to that very well, right? Where it's like, all right, I'm just going to jungle. And when you play like a 1v1 in the safe lane versus off lane, like we did, they tie that out. They both farmed. And then you can just kind of fight constantly compared to that like stereotypical bad jungle where your jungle Wraith King does nothing and he just doesn't level Wraith Fire Blast and just jungles into oblivion. So it definitely went perfectly for our team. Like not only was our team comp good, like honestly I would draft this team comp. Like obviously Underlord's not in captain's mode, but
if he was, I would draft him every game because he's fucking broken. If that wasn't clear, that's our general opinion on this hero known as Underlord.
Well, like you could even run this lineup with like Omni Knight Jakiro aggro off, like in a similar dynamic.
No,
I think it would be fine. I don't think it would be as good, but I think it would be fine.
Yeah.
Regardless, I like this team comp a lot, or something similar to this, because, and this I guess was getting a little more into Hakuna Marana territory, but recently I feel like we keep losing to teams, especially this one team that we played 2 games against, but that just outgreed us, and I feel like we could play this kind of stuff where like you run an aggro lane and a jungler, and then you like 1v1 the safe lane versus the off lane, or like you run like an intense roamer and like one support or something. I don't know. But
I mean, we could do like fucking, I don't know, like safe lane lone druid and aggro dual lane with like someone that'll actually scale. I don't know. And then a jungle like axe or something like that.
Yeah. Man, now I'm having flashbacks because one of the Flub played a Lina game the other day as our mid, because he was like, oh, I play it, and I was like, this seems like a Flub mid, and God, I love Flub, but I like it. Whenever you see somebody play your favorite or your best hero, it's like it grates on your soul. Yeah, like I'm sure if Flub watched me play Pudge, he would want to like claw his eyes out, or like if you watched any of us play LD, stuff like that. So when I was watching people play Lina,
when Vafa played Arc Warden, I haven't played Arc Warden in a while. I'm not even good at him, honestly. I'm better than most because most people don't play Arc Warden. But when I watched Vafa play Arc Warden and he summoned his fucking double and didn't immediately drop a spirit on cooldown every time it was up, I was like, what the fuck are you, like, do you play this hero? Like, use your fucking spells. They're free. That fucking, like, duality of man in front of you isn't gonna exist for too long. You don't need his mana. He's gone. He's gone after fucking 10 seconds. Use your fucking E. Use it.
Yep.
Fuck.
Jaw definitely feel.
There's actually a kid who wants to join my CSL team instead of the Div 2 one, but he plays a lot of Lone Druid too. Not nearly as much as me, about half. But I did put him on the Division 2 team instead of the Division 1, and part of it I was like, ain't nobody else playing my Lone Druid, not gonna lie.
Yeah. That would be a divisive issue within the team.
You're like, yo, I can play the Lone Druid, you can play someone else. Buddy.
I don't think so.
Do you need your legs? I'm going to break them.
I mean, he could still play Lone Druid with no legs, but Anyway,
No, dude, you need to use the pedals for that.
that's true. You do
You
need the
see my
pedals to
setup?
control the bear.
I use my pedals. One pedal is recall, the other one is go.
Yeah, you have the HOTUS, the hand on stick, hand on throttle. I don't know. Cyphus has one. Roland makes fun of him. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's pronounced HOTUS. But it's like hand on throttle under stick. I don't know.
Under the stick.
Sure, whatever. I don't know. Anyway.
I played Dota with a Steel Battalion controller. If you don't know what that is, look it up.
I know what that is. I'm proud.
Dude, I own Steel Battalion.
Really? That's remarkable.
Yeah,
I have a keyboard and mouse, and that's it.
Okay.
And an Xbox controller.
My
Anyway.
eject button is suicide on Bloodstone.
All right. So,
Steel Battalion podcast. I love that game.
Sure. Why not?
Have you ever
That's what it
played
could
it?
be next week.
Have you ever played it?
No, I know what it is though.
It's awesome, dude. You should come over and play it.
Yeah, I'll travel across the country for that for sure. All right, some more content on the game. I'm honestly pretty tapped. Like I just had a lot of fun, and I'm glad. Honestly, like playing Lina, like getting back into playing Lina after like months of being like this hero sucks. Raindrops are OP. Also, the enemy team never bought raindrops, which was awesome. At least that I noticed.
Yeah,
But
I mean
it was
they did
just
it on
fun.
Pudge. Like he naturally is a raindrop.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't understand that comment, but okay.
The magic damage dealt to him is reduced.
Yes, I definitely noticed that in lane. That was not fun. But anyway,
Okay.
I actually he probably didn't have flesh heap in lane, so I'm probably just delusional. I don't know what his base regen or base resistance is. Maybe it's higher or whatever.
I just want to point out that I did actually buy support items. I bought 6 wards that game.
Nice. Did I buy any? I don't think I did.
No.
I don't know why
But,
I would.
I upgraded Korgan. I bought 6 wards, which is just as much as the Jakira brought. So just saying, my fucking jungle support Wraith King did support as much as our other support.
Also, pro tip that I did earlier and that the Jakiro did in our game,
So
if
did
you
I.
are doing the battle pass challenges, the first one in the support tree is buy like X amount of support items. You can do it just by like selling your items at the end of the game and just spamming support items. So like for instance, at the end of the game, he bought 22 sentry wards because he just had a bunch of extra money. And I did my challenge on an invoker game because I just like sold my Octarine core and was like, yeah, I just gotta buy sentry wards. So if you want to do the challenge, just do that. It's super easy. Yeah. And I imagine you can game other challenges similarly, but I haven't read through all of them. Anyway, that's about it for me. Like I'm pretty tapped. This was very fun.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I love Wraith King, man. He's so much fun.
Yep, definitely a good VOD to watch.
Oh, I should talk about the items that I went because that's important. So I went brown boots, and then I start Iron Talent, then I immediately buy Stout Shield so I can, or I do Iron Talent Tango because you need to be tangoing during like your first camp. It can be kind of hard to find where to tango because you're choke point jungling, but you kind of need to do it. So you do Iron Talon Tango, then a Stout Shield. As soon as you kill the first camp, you start on the hard camp, you kill that by a fucking Iron or a Stout Shield. And then after the Stout Shield, I just got like brown boots and then a TP and 1 ward to like help the team out and brown boots and a clarity. And that was really important because after my first gank, or after my first successful gank, I needed the clarity like immediately. And then after that, after I was roaming, I started working on my my treads. Then after treads were done, I got a windlace just so I could be roaming more. And then after that, I got Blink Dagger because you need Blink on Wraith King. And then came Echo Saber and Skull Basher. And kind of my thought there was because I mean you can really go anything on Sport Wraith King if you want to, but I was thinking if I wanted to go MKB, but also just the fact that I can blink on someone and then like Echo Saber and then like, you know, get the Skull Basher proc or whatever, or just I guess that doesn't actually make that much sense because I'm gonna blink on someone and Q them. Like so if I get a Skull Basher afterwards, it's not that great.
Yeah.
But I think it's still okay. I don't think
get a little extra damage out of it, I guess.
Oh, it's a shit ton of damage, man. What is it, like 85 damage? That's crazy. And
something like that.
Yeah, so I mean it's solid anyway, but just the fact that I'm like so much walk down, like the worst thing to be as a support Wraith King is irrelevant. But even if my damage isn't there, if I'm still like Echo Sabering and Skull Bashing people as soon as I get uptime on them, like that's, you know, impactful. There was one time we were ganking someone and I blinked and I tossed a stun at one person and then I Echo Saber slapped the other guy and I stunned both of them and I was like, I'm so fucking good.
What do you think about Deso instead of the Basher?
I don't think I do enough damage. I don't think our team did enough physical damage for that to be worth it. I would probably go for a survivability item beforehand, because part of the nice thing about Skull Basher, like the thing about support Wraith King is your lives need to matter. It can't just be like, ha, all right, like because you want to be in the middle of shit, but you also want to be enough that if they do focus you down and go through 2 lives, it'll be a lot of effort.
Yeah.
But your support rate, like my only survivability item was Power Treads, and I was under leveled. So if I just had like a Dessa, or I probably would have gone MKB if I was going like a damage item, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, if I just had Dessa, and then like my mana, might not be as good, so I would next need an item survivability and an item for mana. I don't know. I feel like Dessa is really good. Like if I went Armlet, if I went like Echo Armlet Dessa BKB, like that would be fucking incredible. But I feel like as support, getting like the lockdown with the Skull Basher or an AC to help your team out, like more aura utility items than just like the pure right click shit.
Okay, that's fair. So
also Mjolnir would have been sick.
Yeah, that's true, especially against the Wind Ranger.
Yeah.
All right, so my build was a lot like I discussed beforehand, where I went bottle, boots, windlace, finished mana boots. I picked up the windlace early just because I was against a Pudge, because naturally he built the windlace early, so I wanted to kind of mitigate that difference as much as humanly possible. So I finished mana boots, then I finished Yules, and then I went Aether Lens, and I disassembled my boots for Aether Lens. And then I went Bloodstone afterwards, and then and then I ended up buying BOTs in base, but I would have gone Aghanims next. I actually really like the Bloodstone build. It's something that I see a lot of really, really good players do, but I wasn't building it before, so I need to kind of like acclimate myself to it, and I'm not really like a Bloodstone player. Like other than Timbersaw, I don't play like Storm Spirit, which is the really big Bloodstone hero. So I need to toy around with it a bit more. But I really liked it once I had it, because it just gives you such an absurd amount of regen.
Yeah.
And then I went BOTs, and then I would have built Aghanims before the BOTs. Probably dropped my bottle for the Aghanims so that I could carry a TP, and then picked the bottle back up once I bought BOTs. And then last, I probably would have gone Octarine Core with this build, because Octarine Core plus Bloodstone and Aether Lens is just, the amount of output you have is absurd. Alternatively, I could have gone Silver Edge last just to deal with the PA, but due to the nature of A, I have Aghanims to deal with the PA by that point in the game, and B, we have other heroes that can deal with her. Or I could just gone to MKB and done the right click build. Lina's like 6th item and 7th item when you're finally replacing your Aether Lens, which I hate doing. I always feel bad about it because it's so good. Are very malleable.
Like I know there's a better item, but it's so comfy.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Bloodthorn is an incredibly good item on Lina if you can get it. She's one of the few carriers, I feel. Like Bloodthorn is really stellar on Lina in many games if you're doing a right-click-esque build. She's also a pretty decent Rod of Atos carrier. You can actually solo Roche with the Rod of Atos, which is slow, but if you have a Drow on your team, it's pretty expedient, and like nobody thinks that you're going to solo Roche. But if you position yourself well within the pit, you can, between LSA and Atos, you can keep your 3 stacks of Fiery Soul running the whole time and kill Roche at a decent clip, as long as you get like a DD rune. And even without a DD rune, you can still do it. But that's something to toy around with if you like that Atos build. I learned that from Eternal Envy, actually. He was back like a patch or two ago when Lina was relevant. He was playing that as safe lane Lina and going Atos. But yeah, so that's how this game was. I really like the Bloodstone. That's my primary takeaway. So I'm all about it. This hero is super fun, honestly. If you're a Lina player and you're discouraged from playing her, like I have been, you could just do it. Like she's great. She's fun.
Yeah. So Lina's cool. Not my hero though. So I'll just
yeah,
let you say that.
Just be appreciative.
Yeah, just look at it from afar.
All right, so I guess that's about that for our show. I will hop into the plugs now. We have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/.ptv. The in-houses are Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. EST. They are hosted by a young man by the name of Gordon, and he does a great job. Big fan. It's a fun time for all. On YouTube, you can watch our videos, replay reviews from Fafnir, our episodes from us, and also, of course, our VODs from Theorycrafting Thursday, and that is youtube.com/.ptv1. We have an Amazon banner up on our website. If you click that, it costs you no extra money. It just sends a little cut to us. That's a great way to support us. On Twitter, you can contact us. I'm at Ursinity, Proud is at Proud Dota, at @P_show is our show, and of course, Flub is at FlubDota with 2 B's. Our email is defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. Another way to contact us, of course, and you can also contact us through iTunes reviews. Our Patreon, this is actually probably the most important plug that I probably should have done first. Our Patreon, patreon.com/defenseofthepatients, is getting revamped. We are adding a whole bunch of new stretch goals, not stretch goals because we're not a Kickstarter, but there's all new rewards, including replay reviews and getting messages read on the show and stuff like that, that you will, I'm sure, enjoy. We are very happy to be revamping that and adding a whole bunch of new stuff. Also the long-term, or I forget what they're called exactly, but the overall stretch goals, not just the individual rewards, are also getting revamped. So there's gonna be all kind of fun stuff that we can hopefully do if we hit those points. So check that out if you have before, or if you haven't yet. It is a great way to support us, and you can support us with relatively little money and get some fun stuff, and it's gonna be a good time. And we're always adding a new stuff to that, so check it out, and that's for sure. All right, and lastly, we have a subreddit, reddit.com/r/defenseofthepatients, and I think that's it for the plugs today. Pretty sure. I'm not sure if I missed any. I don't think I did.
Did we update the Patreon yet, or is that not a thing?
That is done. As of this show getting released, it is done. Also, if I am lying, blame Mr. Project Manager Boss Man, Mr. Blue. So that's that. But it is it's exciting. Honestly, I'm very excited for the Patreon changes because replay reviews are a good time, and that's it. They're fun, and everything else. All right, so remember, if you lost because of this combo, well, it was our theory, and I mean, it's probably your fault.